Any of us who've owned and driven a vehicle know that sometimes that vehicle does require servicing. Whether it be routine maintenance or to actually fix a problem, you'll come here to a service department like the one at Schumacher Chevrolet of Livingston, and you'll basically set up an appointment or a time to bring your car in and have it serviced or fixed. Now, the ideal situation for all of us would be that we can drive our vehicles trouble-free for as long as possible, as long as we want to drive the vehicle. And I have to say, since 2011, my parents have done just that. Their 2011 Silverado has been a great truck for them. They've owned it since 2011. We're currently in 2023. That's 12 years. And they have 157,477 miles on the truck. But yesterday, something broke. This is still such a good looking truck. I mean, again, for 157,000 miles and 12 years on the road, you know, it's got its little bumps and blemishes and little dings here and there, but the truck really presents well. It looks fantastic. My father took great care of it. Again, mechanically, this truck needed really nothing but maintenance. I think there was one like suspension component we had to replace at one point. It was like 40 bucks. You know, other than that, it's just been routine maintenance, tires, brakes, that sort of thing. This is a fully loaded LTZ model that they did factory order. So they picked the options, they picked the color on the exterior, they picked the interior color. They basically added everything to this truck that you can get other than the rear DVD player. So, you know, it has a sunroof. There was an option for a rear media player, which obviously they really didn't have any need for, so they didn't add that. But otherwise, this was a fully loaded LTZ Silverado in 2011. If I remember correctly, MSRP was around $48,000. Look how good the chrome wheels still look. Like no pitting, nothing like that. They look fantastic. He did add the chrome side steps. This was a GM accessory. And then this was aftermarket. He put on these chrome rails on the back to kind of accent the truck, also kind of bring the look together as far as like the side steps, the wheels, the chrome trim. My fellow's a fan of the chrome. And then we also added a tonneau cover. This is actually called the back flip. This is now 12 years old as well, and for the most part held up very, very well. There is some little small issues with it, the way it latches and things like that, but again, a tremendous amount of use. We're talking 12 years, 157,000 miles. These hard folding tonneau covers are great products. If you have a pickup truck and you want a tonneau cover, I definitely recommend going with one of the hard folding ones. On the inside of the truck, everything's held up very well. You know, there's a couple small cracks on the dashboard. There's also the little buttons here that got worn off from use. And then actually, if I hop back out, the driver's seat here, has little tears in it, which this is pretty standard on these trucks. Like they always had this one panel that would kind of get split up just from going in and out. Again, 12 years, 157,000 miles, which I'll actually turn on accessory here. And you'll see 157,477. A couple of weeks ago, I actually brought the truck here for like a routine maintenance, oil change, tire rotation. They did a once over, you know, multi-point inspection. The only thing we did do was we changed the serpentine belt. It was the original belt from when the truck was new. So we put a new one on, more of like a preventative thing. Like, listen, it's time to put a belt on, or otherwise that belt's gonna snap. That was basically it. The truck didn't need anything. Fluids looked good, everything looked good, brakes are good, tires are good. You know, it got a clean bill of health, and we put it back on the road. Now, recently, my father has been saying that he feels like the transmission is slipping. Like when he would accelerate, usually on an incline or something like that, he'd kind of see the RPM spike up and, you know, and rev a lot higher, up to 4,000, 4,500 RPM, even though he wasn't necessarily trying to accelerate that fast. And, you know, when I drove the truck felt great. Technician took the truck around, the truck felt great, but my father's in it every day. He's driving it every day. So you can sense those little things that just seem a little off. And in the last few days when they were driving the truck, he said he could hear like a hissing sound or a little like a suction type sound coming from underneath. Doesn't know what it is, you know, but maybe something that just didn't sound right. And it turns out whatever it wasn't right, because while they were driving yesterday from New Jersey out to Pennsylvania, the transmission went in the truck. They were about halfway through the journey. They were on a road called Route 31 here in New Jersey, which is like a highway, rural type country road. It has one lane going each way in most spots, but when you get to hills, it'll open up a secondary lane. So if there's truck traffic and things like that, the faster cars can move to the left, the slower cars can move to the right, and you climb that hill. Well, on that specific hill, or on one of those specific hills, my father was accelerating, and all of a sudden they heard like a noise. They thought it was a car that was coming the opposite way, maybe like a loud exhaust or something like that. It didn't really do anything. The RPM started spiking a little bit as he was climbing the hill, and then it heard a bunch of crunching and grinding noises again. And as they heard that, and my fellow's trying to climb the hill, he's realizing that he's pushing the pedal, the RPMs are climbing, but it's not transmitting power to the street because the vehicle's slowing down. And ultimately what happened was, as he was climbing the hill, the vehicle literally came to a stop just based on gravity, and it started rolling backwards down the hill, and he had no forward momentum. He had no forward gear. Now, in this particular part of the road he was on, there was no shoulder, but it was the 2 lanes, a slow lane and a fast lane to climb the hill. So he kind of navigated the right lane backwards and just rolled backwards all the way down about a quarter of a mile to where there was like a little turnaround, or what my parents say when they were kids used to be a little picnic area. Little small spot, you can park maybe 5 cars. They said it had 1 picnic table and a garbage can. And when they were kids, they would stop on that little picnic area on their way out to Pennsylvania when they were going with their family. So they backed into that section, which was a nice safe spot off the road, at which point they gave me a call to see what we should do. Knowing the vehicle was going to have to get towed, I just jumped in my car and headed out their way. They called some local tow companies, got AAA involved, and they scheduled a tow truck to come take the truck here to Schumacher Livingston. This way we can assess the damage, see what it needs, and fix it, should they choose to. Let me start the truck up real quick and let's see if it was doing what it did yesterday. Now, I will say that when the truck was dropped off by the tow vehicle, we had it out on the lot, in the front portion of the parking lot, where you've seen me do videos in the past, out by the pine trees. When I got here this morning, the truck was still in the same spot. However, after my meeting, I went back outside and the truck was gone. And I was like, oh, where'd the truck go? Well, Mike, our technician that does the transmission work, was here. So he actually wanted to just check the vehicle out while he was here. He got in it, he put it in drive, it actually moved. So he was able to drive it around. And he said that sometimes happens when, I guess, the fluid and things settle back into the pan and you kind of build pressure or something like that, something with the torque converter. I really don't know, but he said it was enough to get him basically around the lot. He lost forward momentum a little further back from where I'm sitting right now, but was able to roll right into this spot. So on Monday, he can just bring the truck in and assess what needs to be done. Most likely it's gonna need a transmission. What also happened during the situation is the check engine light did in fact come on as well. So we can run it for codes and see what it says as well. Now I'm gonna go to reverse real quick and see what we have. I'm in reverse and it is moving reverse. I'm in forward and it's moving forward. You could also, if you ever have a situation like this, what you can do is you can bring your shifter down to manual, and then you'll see it says M1, M2, M3, M4. You can go through the gears manually. So maybe you lost a particular gear, but another gear would catch and get you to a safe location. Like, let's say you have no first gear, you can't go, but you put it in third and maybe it'll accelerate at that point. It's worth a shot to check it out. Right now I still have movement, and there it is, now it's gone. So now I'm in reverse, as you can see. However, if I let go of the brake, which I'm gonna do, you're gonna see me rolling forward just down this hill. And that's basically what's happening. So there's like no gears, no reverse, no drive, no 1 through 6, like nothing. The transmission is basically most likely shot. It's also sort of making like a ticking noise that I'm not familiar with. So what we're gonna do is put it in park, turn it off, and I'm gonna actually set the park brake to make sure it doesn't roll anywhere. And yeah, again, we'll leave this for Monday. They'll assess it, they'll make sure it is a transmission if they need it, unless it would be a torque converter or something else. But between what my parents said the noises were that they heard and things like that, obviously something went wrong inside the trans, and the only thing you can really do is replace it. If it does in fact need a transmission, it's probably like a $5,000 repair. This is a repair that my parents are going to make. They're going to repair the truck and get it fixed. For my parents, it's a pickup truck. It's something they can use around the different properties they have. However, very shortly, or in the coming months, maybe we'll see a video of them buying a new Traverse. So stay tuned.